Hello, ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and guys, we got an interesting video here today. So, this one is 10 inventions you didn't know were Polish. So, it's my first time here looking at this to see what's up. So, guys, let's not waste time. Let's hop right in.
They've changed the way we live. They come in all different colors, shapes, and sizes. We don't always understand them. Sometimes explaining it can be a little difficult. But they've helped us shed light on the world that we previously knew very little about.
Really?
All of them landmarks in technology, and they all have one thing in common. They were made by Poles.
Wow.
Oh, kurczę, you might say. I had no idea a Pole invented that. But the English-speaking world often keeps the records, and maybe they were having problems with the spelling, let alone the pronunciation. In this video, we're shedding the limelight on the top 10 inventions made by Poles, at home and abroad.
Wow. Didn't know so much was made.
Number 10, the walkie-talkie. Born in Warsaw in 1909, Henryk Magnuski worked as a radio repairman for the Polish military, and he eventually ended up in Chicago. Surprise, surprise. It was here that he would be employed by the Galvin Manufacturing Company, which would later change its name to Motorola. Leading a team of radio engineers, they developed the SCR-300, the first radio to be used by American forces in Europe. This revolutionary mobile device became known amongst GIs as the walkie-talkie. Nowadays, you can find the walkie-talkie in just about any line of work. Take this part-time construction worker, for example, overseeing Magnuski's head. Number 9. Esperanto.
Hold on, guys. Yeah, I never knew that. That is pretty interesting. We've checked out a Polish video about Poland history. We've dealt with a video like this, and of course, I can tell that Polish people are very proud, a very proud nation, I should say. But yeah, that I did not know this, and that is pretty awesome. Let's go.
Example, overseeing Magnuski's head. Number 9, Esperanto. Imagine a world where there is one neutral language that everyone can communicate in. A language of understanding and diplomacy that has the power to end international conflicts and foster world peace. That was the dream of a linguist from Białystok by the name of L.L. Zamenhof. While studying in Warsaw as a young man, he began to develop Esperanto, largely based on his knowledge of the Romance, Germanic and Slavic language groups, but with a much simpler grammatical structure that could be easily learned. A simple language invented by a Pole. Who'd have thought? After more than 30 years of development and several books published, the first World Esperanto Conference was held in 1905. Since then, the movement of Esperantists has continued to grow, and today there are an estimated 63,000 to 2 million speakers of Esperanto. Number 8.
Wow.
The kerosene lamp.
Really?
The story of the kerosene lamp can...
Hold on a sec, guys. Now, hey, I'm taking his word for it, everything. I haven't done any, research on anything here. I'm just mind blown too. Never knew where it actually came from. Wow.
Number 8. The kerosene lamp. The story of the kerosene lamp can be traced back to the present-day Ukrainian city of Lviv, which used to be Lwów, Poland. It was here in 1853 that two Polish chemists, Jan Zek and Ignacy Łukasiewicz, attempted to distill alcohol from oil, which at the time was an incredibly cheap resource being extracted in the region. Though they failed to make anything potable, at least not to any self-respecting spirit connoisseur, what they did discover was a clear flammable liquid that burned long and bright, and more importantly, it didn't stink like oil. Putting the liquid called kerosene to work, they asked a local tinsmith to make a lamp with a small tank at the bottom. Thus, the classic shape of the kerosene lamp had been born. Number 7.
Wow.
The railway signal device.
That too?
Jan Józef Baranowski deserves the award for the most proactive employee of all time when it comes to his work for the French.
The thing is that I'm getting at, yeah, the names. Maybe when they give the names, people don't ask where they're from. I think that's the case here, because these are a lot of important things. A lot.
Proactive employee of all time when it comes to his work for the French railway. Fleeing Poland after the failed November uprising of 1830, Baranowski first worked as a bank teller and cashier in France, before he landed a job as a bookkeeper for the National Rail Network. Baranovsky made several key inventions for the railway system, including the first ever ticket printing machine that could spit out 5,000 tickets an hour, and each with a unique serial number. But at a time when railroad accidents were becoming more and more frequent, it was Baranovsky's automated railway signalling device, invented in 1857, that made the biggest impact on the industry. Prior to this, signalling depended on employees waving flags at various points along the track, as well as their knowledge of when and where the trains were coming from. In an age of increasingly busy railway lines, the Baranovsky signal, as it became known, avoided countless accidents and undoubtedly saved a lot of lives. Number 6.
That is impressive.
The telectroscope. Jan Szczepanik, often referred to as the Polish Edison.
Have you guys invented, like, I want to say everything? Like, again, a lot of these things are super, super important and we use a lot. My goodness.
Often referred to as the Polish Edison, made several contributions to technology throughout his lifetime. However, it's his version of the telectroscope, produced in 1898, that is considered to be a landmark in the development of telecommunication. A telectroscope is a scope and lens, amplified with electricity, that can reproduce images from a distance. Sound familiar? You may not be surprised to know that the term telectroscope was replaced around the turn of the century with the word television. Though he was certainly not the first, Szczepanik's weird machine, as it was called, is alleged to have been able to recreate colour, which would make Szczepanik the forefather of colour television. Number 5. The paperclip.
What?
Whilst the person behind the idea of the mighty paperclip has long been disputed, one contender for your praise may be the famous Polish pianist and composer Józef Hoffmann. Praised by many as the greatest pianist that ever lived, Hoffmann was also an inventor in his spare time. It's been suggested that the inspiration behind the shape of the paperclip was the treble clef, no doubt burned into his brain.
Hold on. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. Wow.
After hours of reading piano scores. Hoffmann is also accredited for developing one of the earliest mechanical windscreen wipers, which apparently was inspired by the back and forth motion of his metronome. Number 4. The electric-powered submarine. Although experimentation with submersible craft had existed since the mid-16th century, it was a Pole who first successfully created a submarine powered solely by electricity. Mechanical engineer Stefan Drzewiecki was taken on by the Navy of the Russian Empire in 1877, and it was here that he made a huge number of developments in submarine technology. The biggest of these came in 1884, when he installed a battery-powered propeller to a one-man submarine that could chug along at a steady 4 knots an hour. While it may sound slightly unimpressive now, this was a major technological advancement at the time, and especially considering the fact that most submarines were still relying on coal power and oars. Outside of submarine technology, Drzewiecki is also the guy who invented the taximeter, of all things. Number 3.
Oh my
the vote counting
goodness.
machine.
The vote
Oh
counting?
look, it's our friend Baranovsky again.
Yo.
The mid-19th century was a time...
Guys, this is so freaking informative. Like, I wish, maybe because of things I'm clicking, I wish, I'll be getting sent things like that on my feed rather than, a lot of drama. I'm sorry, it's probably just my feed, but my goodness, this is so freaking informative. Go Poland. I like this.
Oh look, it's our friend Baranovsky again. The mid-19th century was a time of renewed interest in liberal democracy, and public voting was taken very seriously. Realising the overwhelming task of counting votes, as well as issues of scrutiny and impartiality, Baranovsky conceived the idea that it would be better for a machine to do all the counting instead. No doubt his obsession with numbers was the major motivator behind this, and other machines he patented as well include the gas meter. Yes, apparently he invented that as well.
This guy really
Number
did a
2.
lot.
Cotton swabs. A cornerstone of modern hygiene, the cotton swab was developed by Leo Gostowski, a Pole from Warsaw who made the Chicago move in 1912. The story goes that in 1923, Gostowski found his wife, Jutta, applying cotton wads to toothpicks in an attempt to reach those hard-to-clean places.
Really? I would never
This
do
became
this.
the inspiration behind the Q-tip, Q standing for quality. But
That's
unlike his
brilliant.
wife's toothpick, the Q-tip had 2 cotton tips to allow for double takes.
Guys, you know what I like about this? As simple as, you know, it may seem like, for example, like this again, the Q-tip. I use this every day, and I never stop to think of like where it came from, or maybe how it was made, or maybe in the first place. So just watching this here, it's so refreshing. Let me know in the comments if you feel the same way.
Had 2 cotton tips to allow for double takes. Number 1, the bulletproof vest. If you can stop a bullet, you're either Superman or a pole. The first commercially produced bulletproof vest was made by a Polish priest named Kazimierz Zeglen, who travelled to the US in the 19th century. It was here that he came across the research of a George E. Goodfellow, a physician based out in the Wild West. It was Goodfellow that observed how gunshot victims who had silk fabric against their bodies often had reduced injuries when struck by a bullet. Expanding on his research, Zeglen developed a centimetre-thick vest of layered and woven silk that could stop a bullet altogether. He publicly demonstrated his new invention in 1897. The priest wore the vest, and the assistant fired the bullet. But Zeglen's vest was not a viable product. It was slow to produce, not to mention the outrageous price tag of $800 US, which is about $25,000 today. Enter Pole number 2, Jan Szczepanik. I think you've been acquainted. Szczepanik, who had been developing automated weaving technology for years, teamed up with Zeglen and managed to work out the whole mass production thing. The bulletproof vest was a huge success amongst the rich and the famous who could afford the ridiculous price tag that still remained. Most notably, Szczepanik managed to palm one off to King Alfonso of Spain, and the vest saved his life during an assassination attempt. Archduke Franz Ferdinand is alleged to have been offered a vest, but turned it down, and we all know how that turned out. Zeglen and Szczepanik eventually had a falling out over business relations, and although Zeglen never relinquished his authorship, it was Szczepanik's weaving production and entrepreneurship that made his profit greater. So much so, in fact, that Zeglen's contributions are all but forgotten today.
Wow.
It's also interesting to note that over 60 years later, it was an American woman of Polish descent, Stephanie Kwolek, that developed the polymer for Kevlar, the fabric which is used in today's standard issue bulletproof vests. So what did you think of our list? Were there any crucial Polish inventions that we somehow overlooked? Make sure you leave a comment below. And in the meantime, if you're interested in checking out more content on Poland, make sure you head along to poland.inyourpocket.com or check out one of our city Facebook pages. We'll see you next time.
My oh my, that was a very informative video. Wow. I never guessed. So many things that we use, again, the Q-tip, especially this one. I use it every day, and never really stop to think of, you know, the history and all of that in general. Never in my life. But that, again, was a very nice video. Guys, I'm definitely going to put this in the link here. So please, if you haven't checked it out, go give them a follow as well. This, again, brilliant. Big minds, big brains, I like to say. Damn. Inventions, ladies and gentlemen. I want to see a lot of others, other videos here, so I'm not sure what else we can see from Poland in terms of, it doesn't have to be inventions, but just, you know, anything. I just really find that from the previous Polish video we covered, you guys are extremely, again, proud, confident, and you know, very nice people. So let me know in the comments section. Of course, if you're in Poland, you watch this, let me know in the comments section what this guy missed out. I'm pretty sure there's more. Maybe just leave 10 as, you know, just to make the video nice and short. But I'm pretty sure there's more. But hey, great video. I you know, definitely share this. So please, if you like this you know, video, give it a like, comment, subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you guys later. Take care.